Yeah.
To have that.
Sure.
So, were you able to deliver the package? Excuse me. How can I trust you after the way you manipulated me? Yes, but now the Durarelves want me dead. Well, not if we kill them first, and we've already killed them. So, see, this is what I mean, where some of the quests are basically interlinked, and we've already killed them, everybody, and nothing seems to work anymore. Yeah. How can you trust me after all? You manipulated me. The Duanils were there. Lorenzo's eyes fly open as he tugs at his beard. I was so careful, always following the fair Laffita. They couldn't have known. Well, they did. They did indeed.
Well, well. Is this your last day among the living, Verzano?
Vedero. Verzano wrings his hands. Your time is impeccable. Tell her Pellegina. The domiciles are after me, please. You've got to stop them.
As if any of this were ever in my hands. The Republic's considered your business worth protecting based on its success. That success depended on cooperation with the locals, like House Dominel. You've lost that. And the favor of the Dukes. Even if you get out of this alive, they're done with you. The Dukes have more pressing interest in Defiance Bay than rescuing one merchant who threw himself overboard.
Vincenzo falls to his knees and clasps his hands together. Have mercy, Pellegina. I don't stand a chance against the Dominels. He bites a trembling lip. I brought failure and shame on myself, but you can't mean to watch your countrymen die like that. Die like a dog.
Verzano, Verzano. Why are you wasting your precious breath on me? My orders come through the ambassador, and through the ambassador from people you should be honored ever gave a moment's thought to whether you live or die. You don't seem like the sort to petition the gods to keep him out of hell. So why not cry mercy to the one person in this room with the power to grant it?
She turns her attention to you and raises her feathered eyebrows expectantly. And take to protect him. Nope. Friends, as you're on your own, I'm leaving after you pay me what I owed.
A hard fate, but not unwarranted.
And a forgiveness added to your deliverant turns his tear-streaked face to you. You know you have a kind heart. Please, I never meant either of us to come to harm. I only wanted to save my business. Don't let them slaughter me like this.
Do as you will. He's no longer my concern.
Dana struts to the door, flanked by a squad of Domino foot soldiers. She lets her gloved hand rest on the hilt of her weapon. I hope you've collected whatever payment you were owed, because there won't be much left of this fool soon. As you leave the warehouse, you hear Verzano utter a shriek, which is quickly cut off. Hey, Coxie. At all cost, eh? Weaver's Song. Okay. At all cost, I washed my hands of the dispute between Mastre Verzano and House Domino. Daniel Domino made short work of the merchant. Maybe she doesn't know that her brother and father are dead. I certainly hope so. That would be bad for me. Can I go back in? Oh, Pellegina.
Ah, it's done then. You did the right thing. Verzano has no one to blame for this but himself. We gave him more than enough warnings, but he never listened.
She shakes her feather head and smiles faintly.
In any case, the embassy's entanglements with him have been cut, which also means that I'm free from Verzano's net of stupidity. You have my thanks.
You're welcome.
Whether you intended to or not, you've done the Valian Republics a service today, ridding us of him. I work closely with the embassy to protect our interests, but lately I think our gaze has been too narrow. You clearly have pursuits of your own in the city, but I think we could help each other out. If you're interested in doing some work for us. Officially, I mean. We can go together and I'll introduce you to the ambassador.
That's fine. Let's go.
Good. Maybe I can finally do something more worthwhile than playing nanny to merchants. The embassy is up in First Fires, southwest of the Ducal Palace.
Ah, yeah. Yep. Okay. Who do we get rid of then?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Give her.
Ambassador Agosti, I would speak with you on a matter of some urgency and great importance.
Sighing as though remembering some heavy burden, Vincent crosses his arms before replying, Pellegina, as this is the same matter we've previously discussed, I doubt I will be convinced any more easily. Ambassador, please hear her out. You are well known in Defiance Bay, even in the Valerian embassy. Valerian turns his attention back to Pellegina, so we're keeping respectable company these days. He throws up his hands and shrugs, hardly a good reason to go stirring up trouble with animancers. And who knows else?
Ambassador, there are issues at stake here that go beyond rogue merchants and a port staying open. Animancy is under attack in Defiance Bay.
And he shakes her feathered fist to emphasise her point. Well, it's not really a bad thing, in my opinion. We have to protect our interests here, but that also means knowing when to avoid unnecessary entanglements. The animancers and the locals have problems, they'll work them out, or they won't. Either way, there's too much to risk by getting involved.
If it is outlawed here, what would prevent the same from happening in our republics?
A good thing. The ambassador face facilitates between expression and sympathy and frustration. Pellegina, I do not think your concerns are unfounded, but this is not the place of the embassy to countermand the Republic's policies. If it makes any difference, I've already looking into the matter. I've already looked into the matters Bellingham has spoken to. It doesn't, but it would be fortuitous if your investigation took you to Twin Elms, because that's where Pellegina needs to go.
What is it the Dukes need of me, Ambassador?
The Deerwood's instability has created an opportunity for us to take over their trade with El Grafan. We will need to meet with the Galfathans soon to secure upcoming trade arrangements. The roads to Twin Elms can be dangerous, of course, but that's why you'll be our representative there.
Echosi, Ambassador. But won't this provoke the Deerwoodins? Their country is falling apart, and we are already dividing up their trade alliances.
Provoke them into what? Going to war? Though no fault of the Republic's, the Deerwood's armies have been deprived of an entire generation of soldiers. It would be foolish not to take advantage of the situation. If we don't, the Adkrians will. Some cold compassion considering that these people have been through.
More than that, Ambassador, there is a practical element to consider. We may profit in the short term from this arrangement, but what of the future? The Deerwood won't forget, and the Republics may pay the price for it.
You're not the duck, Pellegina. It's their decisions and our job to carry out the orders. It's not like they're asking you to assassinate someone. Pellegina, persevere. He shakes his head. Go to Twin Elms, speak to the Anamenfa, impress upon her the instability of the Deerwood, and reassure her of the Felarian Republic's desire to open safe trade.
Of course, Ambassador.
There's Ambassador. And nods and smiles paternally. The Lion looks at you. I know you've planned on investigating this crisis together, but I hope you understand Pellegina's responsibilities. I'll just be diplomatic. Excellent. Now then, if you excuse me. Okay.
Could have gone better. Could have gone worse.
I think it went swell.
I appreciate that you stood up for me, but it's hard to persuade the Ambassador to go against the Duke's orders.
I know you're right. You may find a way to fulfill your obligations while looking into what's really going on in here. Don't worry.
Enough wisdom for both of us. Now, I just need to find out how to get to Twin Elms before the Ambassador loses his patience.
Still, I fear that making this deal with the Grafhathens will further weaken the Deerwood and make trouble for the Republics in recent years. It's a long way, we have plenty of time to think about it. For the first one. Verus. No idea what that means. Right. So we go back over to I have a couple of things to get done. Do I want to sleep with this lady?
Hey there. How is it you Eothasians stay so optimistic? The world has not given your kind much reason to hope.
You get to a certain point and you realize you got two options. You can go mad with grief and tear out all your hair and check yourself into the sanitarium, or you can wait for better days.
Well, feathers in my case. But I understand your point. I'm ready.
Talk to you?
Need something?
Yes, I was wondering about your order, the Brotherhood of the Five Sons. Back in the Republics, we call it the Fremas Mescansulalis. The Five Sons are the Duck's Bells, the great ducks who rule over the most powerful republics. Sorrento, Asense, Celona, Osea, and Revua. Duck's Bells keep the republics moving forward, keeps us at the forefront of trade and technology, keeps us strong against all our rivals. We brothers are sworn to aid and protect them for the good of the republics and its citizens. You say brothers, but you're a lady. But my breastplate bulges in the wrong spot. She cracks a small grin. I may look like a woman and sound like a woman, but according to the republic's law, I'm not. What they call godlike people like me, we can never bear children. So we can't be real women. For what that's worth, most women in the republics, if they can't bear children, it's like the sun has set on their lives. Godlike. So, is my understanding of godlike as in they're not gods, but because they can't bear children, because most gods don't, is that why they're called godlike? No, I really don't know. But what it was worth to me, freedom. The Brotherhood had a prohibition against women entering, but I was allowed. Mary resented the decision, but I learned long ago not to care. How does that work? 5 ducks, they can't agree all the time. She throws her head back and laughs. Of course not. They argue endlessly in the Songreta Ducala. The Brotherhood is forbidden to take sides in their debates. Not that I want to. I'd rather risk life and limb fighting the Republic's enemies than listen to the droning lectures of the Ducal Congress. Our loyalty is not to individual ducks, but to the ducks as a whole, to their collective will and resolutions. We follow the mandates of the Ducal Congress, the individual ducks direct us, but they have an understanding of how we are not to be used. Long ago, the Grand Empire of Valeria thrived. As the empire collapsed into the wearing states of old Valeria, much of that old culture was lost. The old Valerians see grandeur in the acts of their forebears and believe it elevates them. They are a tired people from a fading time. There was once beauty in the great cities of the empire, but there are few alive today who ever saw it. The Valerian republics are a rebirth of the Grand Valerian culture, but we are more than just that. While old Valeria was content to look ever backward, the republics will shape the future. I joined the order when I was very young, only 6. I did not pass my final examination until I was 20. It's not something I ever expected to happen. Pirates attacked the town where my family lived. It was not uncommon when I was young. They were more of a nuisance than a real threat, but they were persistent enough that the Duke of Ossia was fit to send the Fraumas to deal with that threat. I was enamoured with the idea of being one of them. I didn't even know what it meant to serve a country then. I didn't really even know what the republics were. I was just a little girl. But maybe I wanted to be them because I saw how people celebrated them. I saw how people thanked them for what they did. Most of all, I saw how they left this place that felt like a prison to me. How did you wind up joining? My father resented me and my presence. When he learned that the Brotherhood accepted my kind because we are not considered women, he asked if I could be traded in exchange for taxes he owed on his land. The recruiter believed that having a god like among the ranks would be prestigious, so he accepted in spite of my physical limitations. Why did your father resent you? Because I was born different, but more than that, because the birth hurt my mother. It left her unable to bear more children. Ooh. That's when my father traded me to the Brotherhood. My mother, she was a different sort, kinder, more forgiving, so did not blame me for being what I was. But when my father looked at me, he saw his family line ended. He hated me for it. Our lives are strange, and there are other ways my father could have dealt with me. He could have killed me at birth. No one in the village would have thought less of him. Wow. She shrugs and memories of her eyes sliding out and back from beneath her eyelids. But being sold to the Brotherhood turned out to be the better alternative. Okay. I feel a bit godlike. Like with anyone who's different, most people are curious or afraid. If they're afraid, shrugs, they get angry. They want to make sense of the world, and people like me can be confusing. And believe me, people are easily confused. Her tone becomes more serious as her voice and gaze drift off. After a long moment, she looks back to you. We all have to protect ourselves no matter where we are, but different means always looking over your shoulder, no matter what company you keep. You're one of the godlike, aren't you? Well, yes. I mean, she has said that over and over. She lets out a small laugh. That's what they call me. Yes, I never met a god, so I don't know what they're like. I can't say why everyone else presumes to understand why I was born this way. Where were you from? I was born in a fishing village near Beapip. Her frown furrows, her golden eyes looking away as she searches for a lost memory. Can't remember the name. She waves her fellow hand dismissively. She's got feathers for hands, okay? I was only there for a few years. My best memory was leaving that place. Like all other brothers, I grew up under the Ossesian bastions. It wasn't easy, but I prefer it to gutting fish. Why are you concerned about animancy? People look at the republics as a nation of traders. We do engage in much commercial trade through Divine Bay, but the greatest value we have found is not writing on the ledging line, it's intellectual wealth, the ideas that we exchange. The Deerwood and the Valerian republics are the world's leaders in animancy. If the Deerwood Institute prohibits prohibits. If the Deerwood institutes prohibitions, oh my word, against research and practice of animacy, it would have serious repercussions for the Valerian Republics. I've never seen that word before. Do you see animacy as just something to be traded? I'm not a scientist, but I believe animacy can benefit us all. There are so many questions to answer about who we are. Why am I the way I am? If we can answer them, maybe we can make life better for everyone. You think there are dangers? Of course it's dangerous, but we who live in the Eastern Reach, we are the children of pioneers. We sought out the danger. She nods her head decisively. This is why all the best research must happen in the New World. I'd like to know your opinion on something. Ask it. How do you think things are going? I'm glad you know how much can be gained from diplomacy. In the Brotherhood, we are trained to keep our physical strength in reserve and use wits and words to navigate our way through most conflicts. There will always be a time for war, but I'm glad to see we have the restraint not to succumb to desire every time the opportunity arises. Spent a lot of time in Deerwood. What do you think of it? It's not the Republic's, but Deerwood was one of our closest allies. We trade more with Deerwood than any other nation, and we have no greater ally in supporting animacy research. Shakes her head. Still, I do not understand the Deerwoodian obsession with revenge and feuds, nor the widespread hatred of Orlans. The Orlans from El Grafan fight for their homes and their culture, as anyone would. They fight dirty, but I would too if any of my enemies were twice my size. Do the Republics view a Deer Empire as a threat? We used to view the Empire as a threat. Since the revolution in Deerwood, the Republics have benefited from the shield that the Deerwood provides. It's another reason why I fear the fall of Defiance Bay. If the Deerwood is weak, a Deer will surely test the Republic's dominance in the Eastern Reach. What do you know of Ruatai? They've done impressive things with cannon and artillery, and some of their ship designs are interesting, but they shout too loudly over minor accomplishments. Alright, Crown of the Seas, Eastern Reach.
Ready, Watcher.
We're done here.
How may I help?
Oh, I can talk to him again. How about your parents? Yes? Why was your mother gone so often? She was invited to join a hammock with a landed Thane when I was very young. His estate was a 5-day ride from our home in Sifwood, so that was part of it. Adultery, I think. The real reason, however, was my father. Yeah. Despite his initial agreement with the arrangements, father was never happy with it. He would hound and harangue my mother when she was home. He wanted to know whether she was intimate with. Yeah, that's what I thought. And no matter how many times she swore she wasn't, it was never enough. As you can imagine, that led to her coming home more or less often, even though she still supported us financially. I'm sure she was trying to take care of you in her own way. I believe so. She had an important role managing the Lord Thing's land and administrative duties. And even though she was away, she provided well for us. It says your father was a problem, a temper. He had a problem with my mother's heritage. Even though they agreed upon it long ago that the financial benefits would be considerable, that it was little different from the roles as the Earl's steward. It ate at him. And so he drank and raged. When she was home, he raged at her, and when she wasn't, he raged at me. More than anything, he wanted me to become an arcane knight in the service of his Earl. I think he felt that would validate his chosen career and master. He was a firm man, as you saw, but in the end, I became a successful wizard due to no small part of his strictness. Nonsense, you accomplished that on your own, and you would have been fine without his punishment. Are you so certain? I didn't know what I wanted from my life then. I surely wouldn't have been so focused without a little direction. What's a Hemig? Ooh, a ceremonial marriage between folk and elf. Ooh. Because the Adir mainland has historically been split between the two races, we have many institutions that are designed to normalise relations. Our monarchy is headed by folk, but an elven consort rules alongside the reigning Verkonig or Merswin. This is the most prominent example of Hermig. In many cases, a Hermig allows two households to pool resources. Among the aristocracy, I can't say it, aristocracy. I'm saying that wrong, but it's right. Hemigs consolidate power. Sometimes, as in my mother's case, a Hemig is a means for a noble to add another administrator to his or her household. Consorts are received with almost the same level of respect as their noble counterparts, which can be extremely useful. Of course, Hemrics are sometimes used to sanitize an extramental affair. He shrugs. I don't know that it's really any better, but it seems to satisfy common notions of decency. And elf and folk unions are sterile, which no doubt eases some concerns, so they can't bear children with one another. So thanks to that animator, my spleen, black bile, come on. Yeah, I thought, but you still learned something, didn't you? Yeah, I would say that one, but only because you and I have a lick of good sense between us. But the average person show them a shiny gadget in the hands of an expert, and they'll believe anything. Yeah, not necessarily. Most people have more sense than that. That's true. People are too easily led. Yes, people need something to believe, someone to follow, and the danger of following a bunch of animators is that even they don't know where they're headed. So why did you want to take Pellegine's notes? Like I said, I didn't appreciate her trying.
Yes?